Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nowhere Saltwater Aquatics. Just wanted to come up on here. I know I said I would make a video about it, basically about moving the tank, kind of what I went through. So I'm just gonna do a quick little video about it. Actually, overall, I would say is a lot easier than I thought. Partly because obviously I only have two fish, and I don't have coral and stuff like that, because that definitely would have been harder. So if you are moving your fish tank, what I recommend is a ton. Well, for saltwater specific right now. If you are moving, make sure you have a lot of salt ready to go. Make sure you also have a ton of buckets. So what I ended up doing is I actually ended up saving most of my water, and only mixed probably a good maybe 10 to 20 gallons. I made some mistakes along the way, so I'll also share that with you guys too. But yeah, so pretty much all I did is I section off like one bucket is gonna have all live animals, and then the rest of the buckets I put in like my live rock and stuff like that, so it wouldn't get dried out. One thing I did make the mistake on, is I shouldn't have, is I actually completely clean my filter, which as let me see if you could see here. Hold on, it's probably hard to tell, but there's a cyanobacteria. So I've been going through that to try to like fix it and doing a bunch of different stuff. So there's that. So if you are moving your tank, I did it to make it easier on myself. But you always want to keep your filter media wet as well in the tank water. But basically, I used two cars, my dad's and my car. We pretty much broke down the tank. We pretty much took all the water. Well, we did take. I left my sand wet, but I took all the water out. I think I had about like 5 or 6 buckets or so. One of them wasn't as full just because I had the fish and stuff, so I didn't want to slosh them around. But yeah, so after doing that, it was pretty much I basically dedicated a specific day just to doing the fish tank. So it wasn't like a rush or anything like that. 'Cause that's super important. You do not want to rush the tank setup, because that's when you make mistakes. And yeah, and I went through as well. As long as the water was already drained out of the tank, I went through and like cleaned the glass and stuff like that. Pretty much loaded into the car. I didn't have to worry about aeration for the fish, just because I was only moving like 3 or 4 miles down the road, so it wasn't that big of a deal. However, if you are moving, a good bit of distance, I would definitely make sure you aerate your water, just because they can only survive so long without aeration. Especially if you have more fish, I would also separate them into different buckets as well. So there's that. And then pretty much when I got to where I moved at now, I took, I think it was like maybe like 4-ish hours to set everything up. I had to mix some more salt water. And my main worry was like losing fish and stuff like that. However, I didn't lose any. But yeah, so basically got here, set it up, and then I basically went straight to adding water in, so I could, start clearing up everything, get the filtration going, as well as heating the water too, because that's one thing. Even when you're moving and stuff like that, you're gonna lose the heat. So that's another issue you may run on. So you could, if you're moving long distances, I would probably look at like a portable air pump as well as a heater, just in case. But I didn't have to worry about that just because I was moving the short distance. But yeah, so pretty much when I got here, I set the tank up, put the water in. I let it run a little bit because I got my water fairly cloudy just from stirring up the sand and stuff. Excuse me. So, yeah. So once I cleared it up, it cleared up pretty quick. It cleared up, I would say, definitely within the day, but basically made it as clear as it is now. Um, Probably within 24 to 48 hours. So, and I really didn't run into any complications. It was just a lot of heavy lifting and moving. If you do have a bigger tank, like 40 on up, I recommend getting just a helping hand, because it does help having more than one person there, especially for like lifting it, because you figure the tank itself, yeah, sure, it's glass, it's not terribly heavy, but once you add 40 and up pounds of sand, it gets pretty heavy. And not to mention, depending on what type of vehicle you drive, you may have to get a bigger truck or something like that, because even if the tank is able to fit, you got to think, you got the filtration, your lighting, your heater, and then all the buckets, if you choose to actually keep your water. So that's what I recommend, but overall, it's actually not as hard as I thought it was gonna be. It was just a lot of moving and just took a lot of time. But basically, I would get everything like I wouldn't do it. Okay, I'm moving my fish today. Now I got to run through and go to the trade or like Home Depot and get 20 buckets and this and that. Make sure you plan ahead and try to get everything settled, and just make sure you're prepared to move before you move. That's my biggest thing. And even before you move, even if you can't go to the place that you're moving, try to like look at the floor layout and something like that, just to like pick your tank spot. So when it's time to actually move everything in, because which you're still at a rush at the end of the day just because you got live stuff. So you want to make sure you're not like, oh, does the tank look good here? Does it look good here? You want to know where you're putting it. So that's what helped me is I stand in, tank in, started plugging everything up while I was mixing up salt water and stuff. So overall, there wasn't too much information out there, so I hope this helped. You could drop a comment if you have any other questions, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Um, but in general, like I said, my move was pretty short. If it was a little bit longer, I think I may have had a little. I would have been worried a little bit more. But I definitely overall I wouldn't be worried. Just make sure you plan ahead and make sure everything's solid. So yeah, with that being said, I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Side note, sorry for my lack of content and stuff like that. Just moving, a lot of personal stuff going on. So just trying to jump on here when I can, make some videos and stuff like that. But that being said, I hope hopefully everyone enjoys their day. If you are moving, good luck to you. You're gonna do great. A thumbs down frame. There you go. You're gonna do great. Just you know, plan and prepare. That being said, see ya.